To this legal explainer, today we're untangling a story that has, well, it's completely captured the public's attention. Now, on the surface, this case looks super sensational, but legally, it's a fascinating, multi-layered puzzle. We're going to break down the recent controversy surrounding the viral internet sensation known as the Mona Lisa of Kumbela. Her recent marriage and the fierce legal battle that followed are raising some absolutely serious questions for the judiciary, and we are going to rely strictly on the facts to make perfect sense of the whole shebang.
Okay, let's dive into this and start right with our core dilemma. Can simply marrying by your own choice escalate into a literal threat to your life? I mean, this question is at the absolute center of our analysis today. On one hand, we've got the fundamental freedom of personal choice, right? And on the other, the severe death threats a young woman has allegedly faced following her interfaith marriage. So this isn't just a story about a viral star. It's a massive, complex collision between individual rights, societal backlash, and the legal system.
Section 1. From viral face to controversy. The timeline of events. So how exactly did an accidental internet phenomenon find herself in such a massive legal and social crisis? Tracking this rapid journey, point 1 starts at the Mahakumbh in 2025. She went viral from just a simple, candid photo of her selling garlands, which, is what earned her the nickname Mona Lisa. Moving to point 2, she successfully parlayed that sudden fame into an entry into the film industry. But the major turning point, actually, scratch that, the real catalyst here is point 3, March 11, 2026. She legally registered her marriage to actor Mohammed Farman Khan down in Kerala. However, immediately post-marriage, things deteriorated rapidly at point 4. Her fame quickly turned to fear as she faced an overwhelming backlash.
Section 2. Plea for protection in High Court. Seeking safety from threats.
Now, when the hostility crossed a very dangerous line, she urgently had to knock on the doors of the judiciary to literally save her own life. She filed a petition demanding immediate police protection. And look, we're not just talking about everyday internet criticism here. The specific dangers that necessitated this judicial intervention were truly harrowing. First, massive organized hate campaigns were launched against her across social media platforms. Second, there were actual physical public protests in response to her marriage. And most critically, that third bullet point, she began receiving alleged death threats. It's fundamentally impossible for anyone to feel secure in that environment, which is exactly why the court had to step in immediately.
Section 3. Kerala High Court's interim order. The court steps in.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the judges reacted. When they reviewed the preliminary facts of this harrowing case, their absolute top priority was the preservation of a citizen's life and personal liberty. So they granted interim relief, which simply means a temporary court order. The court instructed the relevant police station to grant her police protection until the next hearing. But we got to be very clear here. This is purely a temporary safety measure. It is absolutely not a final verdict on the overall complexities of the case.
Section 4. Legal dispute and POCSO case. The complication.
While physical safety is paramount, there's a major complication creating dual tracks in this case, and this brilliantly illustrates the two sides we're dealing with. On one hand, we have the right to protection, which the High Court has addressed, but on the other hand, we have the pending judicial process. Reports indicate there's a serious dispute regarding her exact age at the time of the marriage. Because of this, the validity of the marriage is being actively challenged, and proceedings related to the POCSO Act, that's the Protection of Children from Sexual Offenses Act, are pending. So these two very different legal tracks are operating simultaneously.
Let's be absolutely crystal clear on this next point. It is vital to emphasize firmly that the police protection order does absolutely nothing to dismiss, validate, or influence those pending statutory charges. None of it. There is no final judicial decision yet on the validity of the marriage or the pending POCSO case. The court is going to independently evaluate the evidence and make a final ruling on those charges entirely separately from the protection order.
Section 5. Article 21. Right to life. The constitutional foundation.
So, you might be wondering, why did the court grant protection while such serious criminal charges are pending? Well, it's grounded deeply in the absolute bedrock of the Indian Constitution. Article 21 of the Indian Constitution grants every person the right to life and personal liberty. So the crucial point is that the Constitution unequivocally guarantees the protection of life, regardless of whatever other legal disputes or criminal charges might be pending against a citizen. If there is a real, verifiable threat to someone's life, the state's primary, non-negotiable duty is to protect it. No questions asked.
The overarching takeaway here really boils down to two parallel steps. Step 1. A real threat to life immediately triggers constitutional protection, exactly as the court ordered in this scenario. Step 2. Separate, rigorous legal processes handle the statutory and criminal disputes based purely on hard evidence. This clearly shows us that the justice system can simultaneously protect a citizen's physical safety while still rigorously prosecuting potential legal violations. The two actions are definitely not mutually exclusive.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Protection is a fundamental right, for sure, but can anyone escape legal scrutiny? The courts will always prioritize human safety when death threats are made, but they also demand absolute accountability. The granting of an interim protection order is never a free pass on strict statutory laws like the POCSO Act. As this judicial process continues to unfold, it's going to be fascinating to see how the court balances these massive complexities. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning, keep learning.